He got the R. He got the R. I'll give it to him. At 7 p.m., I call this meeting to order on February 1st. I just want to make an announcement. I hope many of you were able to step across the hall and catch majority of the George Washington Carver Day celebration. It's the inaugural day for that here in Iowa, and so that was the main reason we pushed Senate back tonight. But we will continue with roll call. So when I call your name, please say here or present, starting with Agba. Becker. Bruick. Burks. Cecil. Dre. Eisma. Engelken. Etten. Frencher. Gopa. Hackbarth. Heidenreich. Holiday. Kamstra. Kuehler. Mahoney. Margaret. Matthews. Mays. Oh, yeah. Moskar. Momini. Patel. Schnepp. Slade. Slater. Tansey. Chapete. And Vo. With that, we do have quorum for this evening. We'll move on to adopting tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to do so? Oh, I skipped way down. I am so sorry. We will now move on to Pledge of Allegiance led by Speaker Mahoney. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was going to say, we have a good program scheduled for tonight with our new Director of Outreach, Sundar Shivraj. If I could ask all senators just to put down your laptop so we can give Director Shivraj his attention.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see on your agendas, I'm here to talk about outreach credits. So, as a reminder for all of you, each senator and cabinet member is required to do 2 outreach credits per semester. So I'm here to tell you how to get that done. So my plan for this semester is I'm meeting with multiple committees and committee chairs to try to figure out student government events and activities to put on the MIS for different outreach credits and events. My plan is to also put up some after darks and some tabling events as well. So there will be ample opportunities for you guys to be able to put in your outreach credits. As a reminder, I said it last week as well, but I'll be doing it by hour as opposed to by shift. So as long as you get 2 hours in for outreach credits, you will suffice the outreach credit requirement. So all of the events that I'll be putting on, as I learn more about them, I'll be updating that on the MIS and putting those on the outreach tab over there. If you don't have access to that or if you need help looking at that and signing up for those things, please let me know. I can help you guys with that. And as soon as you've completed an outreach credit, if you would not mind texting me or emailing me, telling me how much time you spent so I can mark that down on my Excel sheet so I can mark you down as getting it done. I would prefer text because that would be more immediate for me to react to it, but you can email me. If I don't respond within 24 hours, please just keep bombarding me with emails or texts until I give you an acknowledgement that I have actually marked you down. And as always, if you guys have any questions or concerns about this or want to see where you stand in terms of outreach credits and how many more you have to do, just let me know. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions from any of the senators? All right, thank you, Director Shivraj. We will now move into open forum. This time shall serve as an opportunity for students to speak about issues relevant to the student body. If any students are present tonight for open forum, please approach the podium now. Please say your name, major, and then you'll have 10 minutes to speak.
Hello, everyone. Some of you might know who I am. My name is Rebecca Larson. I am a junior majoring in agricultural policy. And I'm here to just inform you guys on some information with elections, just because there's some things I don't know if you guys know about elections. So the intent forms to run for an executive slate was due January 13th. And for those of you who don't know what that date is, it's before the semester even starts. But that's not the only flaw I'd like to point out. The other thing I would like to point out is that if you go on to the student government website and click on Run for Elections tab, it will take you to a registration form. There's two actually, one for the executive slate and one for senators. And if you click on either of them, they'll bring you to a file that has outdated forms, outdated dates, and outdated everything. So even if you wanted to run as an executive slate or as a senator, none of the correct information's on there, none of the correct forms are on there, and nothing's updated. And nothing was posted on social media with the correct forms or updates. Nothing was emailed out to the student body with the correct forms or updates. So I reached out to the election commissioner. I actually didn't know who it was, so when I sent her the message, I said, "Are you the correct election commissioner currently?" And she responded yes. So at least the website had that correct. And I asked her where the correct forms were. They weren't publicly available. She had to send them to me. So if you go on the student government website, the correct forms aren't even there, nor the 2023 election code. And then when I asked her various questions about running, she gave me answers. And I told her that I wanted to run as an executive slate. And she said that, of course, that time had already passed, but I couldn't find the right information. So I asked her where the correct dates to run were. They're under the Election Commission tab, not the Ready to Run tab, which I don't think quite makes any sense. And then other things I was asking her is if I would be able to run still. She said, no, not as a regular candidate. I could run as a write-in. And as a write-in, you don't have very many advantages, but you have a lot of disadvantages. Many of them include you can't get certain campaign funds, you can't participate in the official debates, you won't be posted on the student government website, and you won't be on the ballot. You'll be a write-in. And I don't think what's the point of this was to be exclusive or unfair or discriminatory at all. I just think it was negligent on somebody's part, and they didn't mean to do this, but I wanted to bring it to all of your attention, and I want you all to do your own research on the subject, because I find this very disappointing, and I don't know if there's any more sessions for senatorial information, but if there is, I think you guys should really put it out there so people all over the university can participate. With that being said, I will be running as a write-in candidate currently, and I'm just really sad that this had to happen and that nothing was put out there, but thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any questions, look me up on the student directory, but thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your night.
Is there anyone else here for open forum this evening? Seeing no one else, we will now move into adopting tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to do so?
I object.
Do you withdraw your motion?
I move to amend the agenda to include 2022-3-005SZ, amending the Constitution to fix the Supreme Court's quorum at the bottom of new business.
It has been moved and seconded to put 2022-3-005SC, amending the Constitution to fix the Supreme Court's quorum to the bottom of new business. Is there any objection to moving this bill here? Seeing none, the agenda shall be amended. Back on adopting the agenda as a whole. Is there any objection to adopting tonight's agenda? Seeing none, it shall be adopted. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting? It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from last meeting. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, they shall be approved. We'll now move into committee reports, starting off with Rules and Speaker Mahoney.
Hey everyone, it's really loud tonight. Rules met for quite a while on Monday. That's our new meeting time, 5 o'clock in room 3540. We're gonna have a busy semester. We started talking about what the kind of final process will be for this big bylaw rewrite / Senate Rules of Order, and figuring out how we want to move forward with having it see and hit the Senate floor when it does. Right now, the thought is that we would get a rough copy done and publicly available to all senators to peruse over, and then every week we would kind of publicly announce at Senate here that Rules Committee is going to be diving into these specific sections or these specific topics, so that anybody that would be interested could follow along, look into them. If they have any concerns, bring them forward to us at Rules Committee or just anybody on Rules Committee, so we can then make sure that everybody's input is being taken into consideration for such a massive project. We also talked about a couple other smaller pieces, chief among those being the constitutional amendment bill that we're going to see on new business tonight. I will let Vice Speaker Brooks speak on that more. There may be another constitutional amendment potentially coming, but we'll be talking about that at Rules on Monday. But this is kind of the first piece that we knew needed to move forward.
Are there any questions for Rules Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to Finance with Director Claiborne.
Hello, everybody. So the Claiborne's cash cow for this week just went out. As you can see, funding the Western, I definitely meant to say Hunt, so I'm so sorry. So the equestrian Hunt team was sent favorably. Then the funding go to student farm was set no bias. This is because one of the line items is the first time we're doing something like this. We are funding transportation for Good Earth Student Farm. They do monthly vehicle rentals, so we're paying for those rentals as a whole and not by mileage as we usually do. So again, this is kind of a newer thing, so we wanted to come in here, kind of have a discussion on it, and see what the Senate thinks. And then the amending student legal services contract was sent favorably. I will be representing them, so I'll be at the podium. If you have any questions regarding that contract amendments, please ask. There also is a link to RSVP. So on the 15th at 5, before Senate, Green Dot will be here. We are doing training for everyone who wants to come. And the way Green Dot is switching their model of training is they are reaching out to student organizations instead of just doing an overall Green Dot training, in this way that they can kind of target specific organizations. And in this training, we will put down people who we want to, if we were in a crisis or anything happening, who we would contact as an adult, as a fellow student. Then when we write that down, they will also contact them and kind of get an overall web of Green Dot training instead of just people coming, getting an hour of training and then leaving. So the reason we are RSVPing is because if we have over 50 people present, then they want to have 2 people. So basically this RSVP link is for them. So if you could please fill that out as soon as possible. Also for the name tags, I sent out an RSVP a link last week. So if you did not fill that out and are still looking for name tags, I've not ordered those yet, but I will be ordering those on Friday. So please have those filled out by Friday. And then my second to last thing is Cardinal Eats, who we fund, has extended an invitation to their release party. The release party will be on February 11th at 5 p.m. at Daytime Diner. And the representative said, Cardinal Eats would love to express our gratitude towards student government through celebrating our release with you all. We wouldn't have been able to print without finance's help, and you played a big role in that. And they said, I hope to see you and other representatives there. So if you can attend that, Daytime Diner is by the West Ames Hy-Vee. And just obviously this is, I think this is kind of just come in, celebrate, and then after 5, after they do their release party, you can leave whenever. And then specifically for Finance Committee, Animals is going strong. I've done 5 presentations, 2 on Sunday, 1 and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have 1 tomorrow, and then I have another 2 on Friday. So if you know any treasurers who are looking for funding, You can tell them about it, or you can tell them to email me and I can give them more information, or our information's on the StuGov website under the funding overview tab. And then the next 2 weeks, we'll have our help sessions for those treasurers who do have questions regarding their budgets, kind of how they get funded, what our math is, how much a percentage of what they're asking for we can fund. And then the 2 weeks after that, 2.5 to 3, will be our hearings. So Finance Committee will be meeting for a while. So I will do what Finance Director Zastro did last year. If any of you are willing to cook food or bake for us, that would be wonderful. We'll be there for at least 6 hours a night. So please extend your gratitude with finances by baking us food. I also will feed my people. I will feed them myself, not with my money. But again, if you do want to bake us stuff, or if you just want to go for like an hour or two and just see what we do, you are more than welcome to. Any questions?
Questions for Finance Committee? Thank you, Director Claiborne. We'll move on to PR with Director Haas.
Hi, everyone. PR met yesterday, and you'll see that there are 2 bills on the agenda to confirm at-larges and a senator to PR. The next episode of the next State of Things podcast will drop tomorrow. We have a Black History Month marketing project, so be on the lookout for that. I know we posted today. We also have a project to make StuGov business cards for administrators. And then we have our Women's Day and gaming tournament projects. And then also a lot of small projects as well. And then also next week at Senate, we're going to do a marketing project for Valentine's Day. So if you would like, I don't know if it will be a TikTok or if it will be a picture, but if you would like to participate, please wear red, white, and pink. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our PR committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to our Diversity Committee with Senator Frencher.
The International Student Town Hall Subcommittee met with the International Students Council and are planning to collaborate with them for the town hall. And we are also working with the ISC to get logistics on their previous town halls and learn of any problems that happened in the previous town halls and work towards addressing them for the current one. And then the Funding Town Hall Subcommittee also met and are deciding on a local business to cater the event and also an agenda for the event.
Are there any questions for our Diversity Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to Student Initiatives with Senator Mays.
Hello. So we met on Monday and we kind of talked about the events we want to do this semester, made more finite dates. We also kind of planned what we wanted to do for the specific events we were talking about. Other than that, we are seeing a bill tonight for an at-large. Her name is Reagan. She's one of my friends. And I'll talk a bit more about that when that bill comes up on the floor. Otherwise, if you are a senator or if you know someone that wants to join SI, we have open seats for senators and at-larges. We meet 5 to 6 on Mondays, so you can't be in rules if you want to be an SI. But if you want to join SI, please do, because we are pretty low on membership, and we have a lot of stuff that we want to do, and it works best when we have a lot of people working on it together. So yeah, just send me a message on Teams or anything if you wanted to join and help out. Thank you.
Any questions for SI? Seeing none, we'll move on to Local Affairs with Senator Margaret. No updates from Local Affairs. Sustainability with Senator Engelken.
Hey, so George Washington Carver Day was today, and Blake worked very hard on it, and it seemed to do very well, so I'm very excited for that. So right now, our committee members and their subcommittees are working on adding more recycling bins to campus hotspots, and also working on adding bat boxes to campus, which is very neat. We are in the current process of getting cool sustainability banners. We'll have like 3, and they're like the pull-up ones, and there'll be like 3 that are about the different facets of sustainability. They look very cool. Blake designed them. I think they'll be very neat for outreach. So we're currently working on getting those, and yeah, that's it.
Are there any questions for our Sustainability Committee? Seeing none, as always, Health and Wellness with Director Everest.
Last but never least, hello everyone. I have some exciting news. We had 2 openings on our committee. Senator Camster filled 1, so now we have 1. If you are interested in joining our committee, we meet Wednesdays in the Memorial Union, 4 to 5, room 2210. If you want to just come check out a meeting, come next week. We'd be happy to have you. You're welcome to collaborate and stuff. We don't do a lot of voting, but before you officially join, if you want to see what it's like, come check it out. We're working on a lot of really great projects, specifically focusing on food insecurity and partnering with SHOP. So kind of a different facet of health and wellness than we covered last semester. So really excited to see where that takes us. Health and Wellness Symposium is Friday. I helped plan it. Thank you to everyone who registered. It will be going on all day in the Memorial Union if you want to pop by and say hi. If you did not get a chance to register and are really kicking yourself, come find me after this meeting and I can get you help registering. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Director Everest? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the judicial branch.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to start off with some announcements from the Election Commission. Vice presidential debates are going to be on February 7th at 6 p.m. here in the Campanile Room. You can also watch on the Student Government YouTube page. An email will be going out tomorrow with more information about the debates and the senatorial information sessions. Any questions can be directed to the Election Commissioner, Cody Burris. From the court, projects are underway for the semester. Tonight, we did some finalizing on all of the archives stuff that we do have. If you have questions about documents, or if there are documents or like news articles and stuff that you feel should be archived for Iowa State history on student government, let us know. You can reach out to me on my email, or I'm here a lot of times on Tuesdays in the office space. Let's see here. You guys will be hearing an amendment for quorum tonight. Please look on that favorably. It'll be very, very helpful to us performing our duties. Lastly, court meetings have an official room and a time for the semester. We meet every other Tuesday in the Memorial Union in room 2213. Our next meeting is on February 7th, and that is all for the judicial branch at this time.
Are there any questions for our judicial branch? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the advisor with Sophie.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all have a good Senate meeting tonight. I wanted to let you know that I'll be sending everybody an email of a link to my bookings page. Some of you have had it in the past, but I just want to make sure that everybody in the organization has it in case if you would like to set up a meeting with me to talk about any projects you're working on or whatever you'd like. If not, you can always try to pop by my office, which is down in the student engagement office. So if you can make it to Panda Express, you can make it to my office. Other than that, if you need anything, please let me know. I'm thinking about meetings with all of you at least once before the end of the term. I'd love some feedback. So if you see me and you're like, Sophie, great idea, or Sophie, please don't. I just want to know. So yeah.
Are there any questions for our advisor? We will now move on to comments from the executive branch with our very own senior in economics and political science, your local realtor, and your 69th president of the student body, Jacob Kane Ludwig.
I expect that lead-in to get longer every week. All right, short update this week. Had a SciRide board meeting last Thursday, just approved a couple grant applications there. We also last Thursday recorded a new episode of the State of Things podcast with Chief Noon, so prepare for that to drop tomorrow night. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I know you're listening, so get ready for that to hit. We have a nominee for Director of Affordability, Nathan Scott. That will not be coming before the Senate for probably a couple weeks so that some business on the court can be attended to in the short term, but we do have a nominee there. Other cabinet posts that are still open and still looking for potential nominees include the ex officio to the Ames City Council and the Director of International Student Experience. So if you have any interest, I implore you, pleading, apply. Met with International Student Council executives yesterday to talk about some areas where we can partner through the rest of the semester, primarily with the shuttle program the student government has run in previous years. We're looking to bring that back and make it a recurring project for years to come. So starting some initial conversations about what that might look like, what changes we might make from the previous time that we instituted the program. So watch out for some details coming down the pipeline in the next couple of weeks. Coming up for me, though, I have a meeting next week with the MU Development Committee, the MU Student Advisory Board, and Jaden and I will be meeting with the provost. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Are there any questions with our executive branch? Seeing none, we'll jump into the matters of the evening, starting with External Matters 2022-3-002F, funding the Iowa State Equestrian Hunt Team with Senator Tansey.
All right, so this bill was sent favorably from Finance Committee to Senate, and basically we are just funding an event that they're hosting this semester, I think. Yeah. That's it.
The floor is now open for any debate. Or did
Yeah, sorry. Good evening, guys. My name is Victoria, and I'm the president of the Iowa State Equestrian Club team here. So our team consists of about 25 members currently, and we focus on educating and giving students an opportunity to continue riding during the school year, because unfortunately horses can be expensive, so bringing a horse to camp is not always a reality. Our finances cover keeping the horses here on our at the barn that we use for the team, so that's Stagecoach Stables, and this includes feed, keeping them there, and the lesson program. And since we are an intercollegiate college team, we have shows and competitions throughout the semester, and we are currently 1 out of 2 schools that are able to offer a show this spring semester, so it's really important that we have this show. Students are able to compete, and it lets them continue riding and expanding their ability as a rider, and this also gives Iowa State students an opportunity to represent the school on a regional or national level. So our finances for the show. There's a few components that work into play because we are working with animals, and there's a few things that we have to take care of. So we ask of $1,300 for arena rental. This is the space that we use for the show all throughout the week, and it facilitates the whole activities. For stall rental, we're asking for $1,400. This is where we keep the horses and maintain their feed and water throughout the whole weekend. Jump rental, we're asking for a third of the amount, which is $1,699, so we are only asking for $594.65. These are the jumps that we use during the competition. It's a crucial part, and it has to be included in the show. Horse transportation, the total amount that we spend is about $1,225, and we only ask a third of this, which is $463.75. This is the cost that covers bringing our horse to the facilities, as we do bring in external horses outside of our stables that we use, so we have to transport these horses over to the showgrounds. And lastly, the final cost for the show should be about $3,758.40. That's all. Thank you.
the floor is now open for any questions or debate on the bill as a whole? To withdraw. Vice Speaker Broek.
My name is Director Claiborne. Just out of curiosity, for one, why did you feel it was most appropriate for this to go through Senate discretionary? And then how much money is currently in Senate discretionary?
Can you please repeat the first one? Sorry.
Sorry. Why did you feel that Senate discretionary was the appropriate account? I just curious. I mean, I know we have events, we have accounts that may apply to this, so just why was this the best?
Yeah, so we've consistently gone through Senate discretionary for this, and specifically since these are rentals, this in PNC, we cannot fund rentals unless anything else is unavailable. Obviously, you can't have this in the MU or any other building on campus, so that's why we go through Senate discretionary. And as per your last question, don't really know. We're in the ballpark of around, we only spent around $6,000 to $8,000 last semester. So that's probably around $20,000 left, and I still have not increased it if I could. So yeah, we're good for Senate discretionary.
Senator Hackbarth.
Okay, hi. So I have a question about the jump rental equipment. You said that it's only about 1/3 of the cost that you're requesting from Senate, but it says $0 paid by the organization. Are you getting outside funding to cover the rest of the jump rentals?
So, should I answer? Kit, yes.
You have time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm the one who wrote the bill. When they did it initially, when Hunt Team did the application, it didn't explicitly say that we are going to pay 1/3. We usually pay 1/3 in the horse leases because that's the mileage, technically. That's like travel, but they're horses. So that's why it's usually 1/3, but then within the equipment rental, the application was just the $594.65.
Senator Engelken.
Hi, what arena are you planning on having this at?
So we can't use our own arena, so we're using an external barn. I can get the name for you from our treasurer, but we have an external barn that we use just because our current facility is not big enough to house this, and we have schools coming from all around the region, so for some that's about a 5 to 6 hour drive. So our arena is just not in a good place to host this, as well as we are using a facility that has their own events going on during the week, so we rent out an arena for the whole weekend.
Is it still in Ames?
Sorry?
Is it still in Ames?
No.
Okay,
So.
cool. Thank you, I yield.
Are there any further questions or debate about the bill as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to moving to a vote now? Seeing none, we will move into a vote. And being a finance bill, we will do roll call. When I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain. Agba. Yes. Becker. Yes. Bruick. Yes. Burks. Yes. Cecil. Yes. Dre. Yes. Eisma. Yes. Engelken. Yes. Etten. Yes. Frencher. Yes. Gopa. Yes. Hackbarth. Yes. Heidenreich. Yes. Holiday. Yes. Kamstra. Yes. Kuehler. Yes. Mahoney. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Mays. Yes. Moscar. Yes. Momini. Yes. Patel. Yes. Slade. Yes. Slater. Yes. Tansey. Yes. Topete. Yes. Vo. Yes. With a vote of 27 to 0, the motion carries.
Thank you guys, have a good night.
We will now move on to 2022-3-003F, Funding Good Earth Student Farm with Senator Engelken.
Hello. So may the representative please go to the podium. Yeah, so this is a funding bill for the Good Earth Student Farm. They will explain what they do basically. And yeah. Yes, you are.
Sarah Mattingly, she, her, they, president of Good Earth Student Farm. Our club serves as a community-supported agriculture for the ISU campus. Previously, we worked as a traditional CSA, but last year we got the chance to beta test a new model of growing for food security. We had some extra money, and we said, hey, let's advertise to students that are food insecure and ask them, would they like to grow for themselves as well as their fellow students? We had a really good year. We had wonderful yields. We did get started quite a bit late. However, we were still able to donate over 500 pounds of produce, and this is all organic heirloom produce. We choose to use seeds that work the best with the land, as well as would support the nutritional needs of like the students that are international, and a lot of our students are. So we had a really good harvest. We decided to stay with this student-supported agriculture for food security. It went over really well at the shop. We had lines 3 times a week. We were picking for 14 weeks to bring fresh food every day, 3 days a week to the shop to donate. So going forward, the biggest cost of doing this, of being the only student farm, and your really only option for students growing their own produce for the shop, our biggest costs are what Iowa State charges us. So the transportation, the high tunnel rental, as well as our greenhouse rentals. But those are all necessary requirements in order to run a farm, as well as run an equitable farm, so that we can make it fair to any student that wants to participate. We think it's not awesome that at a land-grant-based university that, students should have to pay to go grow their own food, and they should have to pay for transportation to go do that as well. And so we just think it really is the most equitable option for food security in general. It led to so many lives changed, including me getting ISU's first food security intern position based on those efforts. And even my friend Manish there in the back, who is a PhD student in mechanical engineering, and the thing he's the most proud about is the work that he's done with Good Earth Student Farm and the community that he's built. So we're asking for this kind of unusual line item action because this is just Iowa State's charging us. We're asking the student body to support what we really do for the students already, and it's cheaper than us, I guess, buying in our own car. And I think that's it.
Yeah, with that, the floor will open for any questions or debate. We'll start with Senator.
Yeah, hi. I guess I have a question for Kit, or Finance Director. Why is this not coming out of sustainability?
Sophie just asked that question. So
Oh.
they did not apply through Green Initiatives Fund. The process, how this worked, is they reached out to Jaden. Jaden reached out to me. I said, I think this could be a special projects bill. Went with special projects. Either way, it really doesn't matter. I think we have more money in special projects. Obviously, this is a sustainable way of using money, but I think also coming through Senate and kind of seeing how Good Earth is, and also talking about the rental, talking about transportation, I think has a stronger, a stronger debate, stronger topic on, and then also to show that Good Earth is doing something for students.
Yeah, very cool. That was all.
Speaker Mahoney.
Finance Director Claiborne, I just had a small question about kind of the monthly transportation rental. So I know it's one line item. Is it still kind of funded at like the same normal amount, and then we're just funding it 6 times? Or can you explain a little bit more about like why it's so unique?
Yeah, so typically we fund mileage rates. So when any organization comes for funding, we do miles, because if you look on the transportation website, if you go outside of Ames, any mile outside of Ames that's not a day rental or a monthly rental, you have to go by mileage and not the day rate. So the reason they do the monthly rate is because they do 3 times a week, right? 3 times a week?
Yeah, we run 3 work shares shifts a week for students to go. So we have to have the van rental for all week long in order to go back and forth. It's at, just to be clear, this is all at the Horticulture Research Station North, which is about 4.5 miles outside of town, technically Gilbert.
Yeah, so that's still technically within Iowa State University grounds. So they're doing the monthly rentals. So one monthly rental is however much times 6. So that's why we're doing the 6 and then the quantity, so we can show that one of them is monthly rent, but they rent it out for 6 months because it's during the summer.
Okay, perfect. That makes a lot more sense.
Senator Keeler.
This is a question for Finance Director Claiborne. So Speaker Mahoney actually asked my first question, but I guess I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on why the bill was set no bias and if this is any reason to doubt whether or not we should vote yes for it.
Yeah, so no bias does not have any positive or negative connotation with it. The way that finance works is if we do send a bill no bias, we want discussion on it no matter what. Obviously, we can have discussion on a favorable bill, but being sent favorably means that everything falls in line. It's pretty procedurally. Unfavorably is obviously we can't fund them or we do not want to fund them. And then no bias is something that either if it is a special case like Good Earth or if we do want more discussion on it within Senate and kind of have a better understanding of what this bill is. And the reason why finance sent it was because of the transportation line item, since it is kind of relatively new and unique. And we usually do mileage, but this is monthly rent. Obviously, it technically is the same thing. They're still renting from transportation services. They're still going to somewhere that's an Iowa State campus entity, but we just wanted to send no bias so we can have an open discussion about kind of what this is and also show that Good Earth is doing 6 times a month monthly rentals, why they're doing the monthly rentals.
All right, awesome. I think that pretty much answers my question. I yield.
Senator Holliday.
Hi, so my question is for you. With a year underneath your belt, looking at the future going forward, do you have any ideas of how to improve your production practices to be able to increase your yield, to be able to benefit the students more in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So we spent a lot of time choosing like heirloom proven varieties for yields. You know, if we weren't traditionally the student organic farm and that wasn't a part of our important past, we might look at going traditional just in order to feed more. However, we did such a good job remaining regenerative with we managed to germinate seeds that were like 10 years old and they produced awesome. But yes, we did choose varieties this year that are heavy producers to try and up our limit. And we realize numbers on food are like a whole an amount of kale could fill this room and it would be like 3 pounds. So it's not if you want to count your numbers, you kind of do have to choose some heavier vegetables. So we are working to increase our numbers, increase our yields, increase our donations, change our vision of our shares and what that looks like for food, for donating for food security rather than you picking up a box and taking it home. So yeah, we've done a lot of hard work on that.
Amazing, perfect, thank you. I yield.
Senator Dre.
Hi, my question is also for you. So I was just wondering, are all the people that work with Good Earth Student Farm Iowa State students and from the Iowa State community, or is there outside involvement?
We have, currently we have 3 Iowa State affiliated employees that they get their master gardener hours for the year volunteering with us, and we do let them take a little bit of produce home. We're not going to send them home with nothing, but they just really enjoy it. So there's about 3 regular community volunteers that have a wealth of knowledge and experience, and they're really good at interacting with us. But no, everybody else either is a student or faculty member at Iowa State.
Thank you.
Is there any further questions or debate on the bill as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to ending debate now? I'm going to remember this. Closing comments, Senator Engelken. Seeing none, we will move into a vote. Being a finance bill, it will be roll call. When I say your name, please say yes, no, or abstain, starting with Agba. Yes. Becker. Yes. Bruick. Yes. Burks. Yes. Cecil. Yes. Dre. Yes. Eisma. Yes. Engelken. Yes. Etten. Yes. Frencher. Gopa. Yes. Hackbarth. Yes. Heidenreich. Yes. Holliday. Yes. Kamstra. Yes. Kuehler. Yes. Mahoney. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Mays. Yes. Moskar. Yes. Momini. Yes. Patel. Yes. Slade. Yes. Slater. Yes. Tansey. Yes. Topete. And Vo. With a vote of 27 to 0, the motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We will now move into internal matters, general orders. 2022-3-001 SA, amending the student legal services contract with Senator Patel.
Hi guys. So we saw this bill last week as a new business and last semester, but we're basically just adjusting the student legal services. Oh, wrong bill. There we go. But we're just adjusting student legal services benefits and salaries. The data is also attached below if you want to scroll down. And then Finance Director Claiborne can also provide additional information.
Yeah, so that is really loud. I am so sorry. So as you can see, this amendment to the contract is just solidifying their total allocations and also their salaries and benefits for the student legal services for 2 lawyers, which is the legal counsel, and then one of their secretaries, which is Secretary 2.
The floor is open for any questions or comments about the bill as a whole. Senator Slade.
So we did fund an increase in their salary last semester. Can I just ask for some clarification on why we're seeing another one now?
Yeah, so this is my 3rd student legal increase as finance director. So the first one was first session, so last spring. That was to have increase in Memorial Union rent as student legal went from the basement of the MU to the 6th floor of the MU, which is a very nice space if you haven't been up there. They had to increase Memorial Union rent, and then also last semester they had to have an increase by January 1, and talking with President Ludwig, we really didn't want to have the contract come first because they needed the subsidies right away as obviously January 1, so we took that out of special projects, and then this is to offset the FY24 through FY26 increase in salary. So that's why, if you look at the bill, you can see from FY23, which is now until FY24, you can see the big increase. That is the increase within Memorial Union rent increase and also their increase in salaries and wages. And then if you go up to their salaries and wages, you can see that increase as well.
Thank you. I yield.
Yep.
Senator. Is there any further questions or comments about this motion as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to moving to a vote now? Senator Patel, closing comments. All right. This motion does call for a 2/3 majority vote to pass, so we will be doing roll call. When I say your name, please say yes, no, or abstain. Ogba. Yes. Becker. Yes. Bruick. Yes. Burks. Yes. Cecil. Yes. Dre. Yes. Eisma. Yes. Engelken. Yes. Etten. Yes. Frencher. Yes. Gopa. Yes. Hackbarth. Yes. Heidenreich. Yes. Holiday. Yes. Kamstra. Yes. Kuehler. Yes. Mahoney. Yes. Margaret. Yes. Mays. Yes. Moscar. Yes. Momini. Yes. Patel. Yes. Slade. Yes. Slater. Yes. Tansey. Yes. Topete. Yes. And Vo. Yes. With a vote of 27 to 0, the motion carries. We will now move into special orders, starting with 2022-3-009 SG, seating an at-large to Student Initiatives Committee with Senator Mays.
Yeah, so this is the at-large bill that I mentioned earlier. Her name is Reagan Robinette. I think she's considered a junior. She is a good friend of mine. We've grown up together. She is currently attending Iowa State, and she was looking for more ways to get involved since she kind of is. This is kind of almost her first semester since she's only taken a few credits and did a big internship. So she's trying to find a way to get involved in campus, find stuff to do. And I have openings on SI for at-larges. So she came to our meeting on Monday and she liked it. So this is just a bill to put her on the committee, and I think she'll be a good fit and she'll help us out quite a bit. So yeah, if you have any questions, just ask.
Are there any questions or debate about the motion as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to ending debate now? Senator Mays, closing comments. Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion carries. You gotta commit if you're gonna clap. We'll move on to 2022-3-010 SG, confirming the nomination of an at-large to the Public Relations Committee with Senator Slater.
Yeah, so this is the first of 3 that you guys are going to hear from me. So, Erin, if you want to come up to the podium. This is Erin, and she will be up for a vacancy for an at-large seat in the PR committee. So I'll let her talk.
Hi all, I'm Erin Musselman. I'm interested in PR committee because I'm always looking for new ways to get involved with Iowa State, and being a freshman, I'm always looking for new opportunities and I keep finding them. I looked towards PR committee because I got a chance to look at the podcast or go to a meeting and see kind of what they're involved in. And I found interest in kind of a gaming event that they're hosting or a Women's Day event. And I just want to get involved and kind of put my ideas in the process and kind of move things along with PR committee. So.
I just want to say she's been really great with Women's Day so far, so I would highly recommend.
Objection to ending debate now. Senator Slater, any closing comments? I don't know where you are. All right. With that, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion carries. We'll move on to 2022-3-011 SG, confirming the nomination of a senator to the Public Relations Committee with Senator Slater.
Yeah, so another PR bill. And so, Kat, if you want to come up to the podium, I'll just let her talk, and same thing.
Hello. So this semester I found availability with my schedule to be able to join another committee because I could not make the time rules was. So I dropped rules and now I'm thinking about joining PR. So I would really like to join PR since I've been to 2 meetings. I've really enjoyed it. I have seen the podcast filming. I watched the editing process. I'm just really would like to see everything that PR does basically. I am Outreach and Education Subcommittee and Sustainability Committee, and I would like to learn more about PR and outreach, essentially, and joining PR, I think, would help me do better at my role as Outreach and Education Subcommittee and Sustainability Committee. Today, for the graphic today that was posted for George Washington Carver Day, I did that, and I really enjoyed it, so yeah.
Once again, 2022-3-012 SG, confirming the nomination of an at-large to the Public Relations Committee, Senator Slater.
Yeah, so this is the last one of 3, and I'll have the nominee come forward. She should look very familiar, and so I'll let her talk.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Maddie, and I was previously seated on PR as the Director of Marketing. Due to some unforeseen scheduling issues I had this semester, I was unable to fulfill the full duties of that. However, I would love to remain on PR committee and serve the organization whatever way I can. Particularly, I do a lot of work on the podcast, so I'd like to continue there. I really love what we do as an organization, and I was sad to not be able to do the things that I wanted to do originally, but I am excited to continue serving.
Hi, Maddie. I was just curious as to what you've done in your past and background that makes you believe you're qualified to serve as an at-large on PR committee. It's a big responsibility, and I just want to we want to vet our candidates well.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm a graphic designer. I did a lot of stuff for PR's director of marketing, and I think it was a good time. So, yeah, that's all I got for you.
The question has been called for and second. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Senator Slater, closing comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to a vote. Unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Congrats, Maddie. The motion carries. Finally, in new business 2022-3-004Y, the Right to a Responsive Representative Act. Senator Margaret.
Hi, everybody. So this is a pretty simple bill, and it won't take a whole lot of time to read. But basically, I'm introducing this co-sponsored by Senator Eisma. All it does is it reaffirms that it's a reasonable expectation for students to be able to know who the representatives are in student government and to have a means to contact them. And so in order to fulfill that expectation, it makes it a responsibility of senators that they should keep their directory entries current with their information. And it adds that to the section of the bylaws that talks about our responsibilities to our constituents, so I think it fits well. And I think it's an important thing that we should maintain so that it's a good tool for student representation. So I'm happy to answer any questions in the form of yes or no questions, and if not, we'll see this next week.
Are there any questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll move on to our final motion of the night, 2022-3-005SZ. Amending the Constitution to fix the Supreme Court's quorum with Vice Speaker Bruick.
Hey everyone, so this is the culmination of my many years in student government. Finally, after many years of struggling on the court when we have vacant seats to have quorum at meetings, we have finally gotten around to proposing a constitutional amendment to set the quorum based on the current number of justices seated as opposed to the total number of seats. There are 9. The current way quorum has worked has been just a really, really big burden on the court whenever there's vacant seats, and there's been frequent vacant seats. It happens just as it happens in Senate and in Cabinet. And unlike every one of those bodies, the quorum of the Supreme Court is not floating. It's strictly set at 6 or 2/3 of total justices. It's not great. It's been a problem since I was on the court originally, and we're finally fixing it. So that's all this amendment's going to do. If just a little bit about it, if we pass it, this doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen yet. It still has to be passed at the general election by the student body. But if we pass this bill next week, it will be placed on the ballot to be voted upon by the student body. So this will change the whole student government constitution to reflect these changes if it's passed by the student body. And I yield.
Okay. I'm a little unprepared for this. I did not find the day counter. But there are 7 less days than the last time that I gave you a count. So I'm sure you all commit everything I say to memory. Take that number, minus 7. That's what we've got left. I know that the 72, that's the count. Perfect. We've got 72 days, and I know that now that the election campaign is in full swing, some of us are going to be a little bit busy. I just want to give you a gentle yet firm reminder that you all currently have positions in student government that should come first. So you have sworn an oath to serve the students. You have responsibilities in the bylaws. Don't slack. Not saying that anyone is. It's just something I want to put out there as we get started with the election season. And for those of you running, I wish you all the best of luck. And again, 72 days.
Hello, everybody. So just bringing an issue for one, guidance and assistance, but a specific issue relating to room reservations on campus regarding my own organization of Beta Theta Pi, IFC having issues as well with constant changing, and then relating as well to Greek Week. In the past, for past Greek weeks, we always do a day of service or a service project that goes along all week. This is typically held in the MU as a mutual space for everybody to come in between classes to complete, whether it's a craft, or making blankets, donating stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But this year, they tried to reserve the room back in November, and they said the MU was completely booked out. So come talk to me afterwards. It's just something that was brought up. I was like, you know what, I'm going to bring it up as well here, that there's some people having issues, so would love some assistance on that.
Hello, I'm back. So our director of marketing had an announcement. He was unable to be here, but if you look on the outreach tab, there is a spot for you to sign up for Senate recaps. It's sometimes very hard for both Ethan and I to find individuals to do Senate recaps. We're like finagling people and like texting them right before Senate's done. Can you please do a Senate recap for us? It only takes up 5 minutes of your time. You just step right outside of the MU, just give a quick recap over the bills and things that we talked about here at Senate. So if you are interested in doing that, please sign up on the outreach tab so it'd be easier for us to find you. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to build on what the president said earlier. Go ahead and make a list of your priorities. I got this very helpful advice from Sophia, and it has helped me in trying to figure out my projects for the court this semester. So having that visual reminder of what you'd like to do is very, very helpful. And I don't know if any of you are sticky note people, but putting a sticky note like on your bathroom door or on your mirror is a really great way to find motivation at random points in the day to work on stuff. So go ahead and get out there and work on some Senate projects.
If there are no more closing announcements, I do have a few. I was revisiting our university committee list. As a senator, you all have to be on, is it one or two? One committee. That can be an internal Senate committee or it can be a university committee. The openings I currently have are for the Transportation Advisory Council, the University Committee on Disability, our very own Lectures Committee, and the ISUPD Chief Advisory Board. So if any of those pique an interest to you, please see me after the meeting, shoot me an email, and I can get you in collabs with the right people. I also think that we should start having a Lectures Committee announcement, since we do put a nice chunk of change towards that committee every year. I know Vice Speaker Ad.
First, I want to thank Vice President Ulrich for the Advait shout out. My dear friend Advait, last name redacted. We do love him and his dedication to lectures. Student Advait at IA State from his redacted email. You can still email him, I guess. But with that, I did have a big announcement that Speaker Mahoney's birthday is only 301 days away. So can we give him a little round of applause for that? Coming up soon, bud. He's turning 36. But on more serious notes, we need a little farce tonight. I don't have too much going on right now. Mentors, meet with your mentees. It's cool. Do it. It's important. As I mentioned last week, I have a couple. I'm planning on doing a couple programs on some of the big bills we're about to see. Some of them are gonna be really big and really weird. Honestly, my constitutional amendment's already out of the norm, so we're getting into that season. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to be confused. It's fine. Ask questions. It happens. I know a lot about this organization, but I once knew nothing. On my first agenda I ever prepared for the Student Government Supreme Court, I called it the Government of the Student Body, not knowing that we'd changed that name several years before I joined student government. So it's a learning process, and it happens. With that, I yield to Speaker Mahoney.
Brooke, sometimes I hate you and you scare me. But couple announcements just to keep things in mind. We are in election season. I think statement of intent forms are due February 13th for those of you interested in 17th. Sorry.
At 5 p.m.
Yeah, things keep changing. Regardless, February 17th, as people just said. So those of you interested in running for Senate seats, once again next semester, next year, those are down in the office right now, along with days for the senatorial information sessions that you still need to go to if you are a senator. What? Hi, Sophie.